Yeah. Alright. So I know it's been a while, but yeah, I've had this Kashimo idea for like ages, like before even Urame. So I don't know. Here we go, I guess. For the name, I'd probably just go God of Lightning. I think that's just the most sensible name. HP would be 100, normal size, and then for M1 trail, I know we already have two blues, but I think like a very light blue with like a white glow would be good. And then, so the main mechanic of Kashimo is he would be a stance character, right? So he would actually have two sets of M1s. So, and two animations for his front dash. So for his staff, right, his front dash would be like an overhead strike. And then when he has his fists out, then he does like a kind of running flying knee.
He's switching stance a lot. Oh!
So for the M1 like staff animations, it would probably, I don't really know how to describe how the M1s would look, but just imagine like some kung fu bullshit with a bow staff, right? That's basically it. And then there would be like around Gojo M1 speeds, maybe a tad faster just by a little bit. And then for his normal M1s for his fists, it would be just a right cross, like a snappy right cross. Then a left elbow, slashing from left to right. And then a right spinning elbow. And then a left knee to the stomach that pushes away, I guess. That's their like fourth M1. And their speed would just like be regular, like, you know, just slower than M1, than like Yuji's M1s. You know, like everybody has that speed, like Megami speed, Choso speed, Yuki speed. Yeah, like Choso Yuki speed, M1s, just the usual. And then his passive, this is really important. His passive, after you do 20 damage to someone, then you get this kind of aura of electric sparks crackling around you. And then when you have that, it lets you change your fourth move, and I'll get into that later. But it's very important for him. And even if it's not full, like the sparks crackle a little bit, so the more damage you do until it's 20 damage and it's full up, is like how much sparks are around you. So if you've hit them like only 2 times with your M1 or something, you've done like 6 damage to them, then you have like a slight little crackle. Then when you're at 20, it's a proper like aura, right? It would have to look different to the Thunder emote aura. So maybe it's more just around like the head and maybe makes a crackling noise. And then here, this is the most important one. His R is called Implant, and he basically slams the staff into the ground, like it sticking vertically up, and that switches you to your fists. And if you move over to the staff, like right next to it, and click R, then you pull it out of the ground and you get your staff M1s back. Yeah, my only concern is like if you're in a public server and you like slam your staff down somewhere, and then you just might lose it. So I think if you hold R, then your staff comes back to your hand, but then that should have like a 12-second cooldown. The cooldown for slamming it into the ground and picking it up is 3 seconds, so you can't like just spam switch whenever you want. Like implanting it is a decisive choice. So starting with the staff moves, the first one is called Swirling Staff, and you basically spin the staff in your right hand as you kind of take a few steps forward, and then you leave it in a horizontal like position, right? And then punch forward, and that knocks them back, kind of like Shut Up's knockback, where it doesn't actually ragdoll them, it just knocks them back. And then from there, you can actually have a like a mix-up, so you can front dash after it, but they can block it, right? So it adds a mix-up to the move, and this move is like mix-up heaven, right? But also, while you do the swirling part, any projectile that hits the staff, or that hits you while you're swirling the staff, it reflects the projectile backwards. but only blockable projectiles. And then its variant is the same thing at the start, but after it does the punch that knocks them back, you throw the staff at them like a spear, and then it sticks into the ground behind them and implants. However, this isn't true. The main way you would use it is, let's say you use Swelling Staff, and then you extend with a front dash one or two times, then you condition them into thinking that you go for the front dash extended, right? So then you use the variant, and then you can throw the spear, and it'll catch them off guard and break their block, because you know, they're already blocking because they think you're going to front dash. And then the second move is called Footstool, where you basically jump on top of your staff, and then you do a sort of front flip, grab the staff, and then slam it down. And this would kind of look like what Sun Wukong does in the Black Wukong games. And while you're doing this move, you have iframes on startup. So it's not like a counter, but it can be used as a sort of like Dragon Punch, as in you get iframes when you, you know, start it. So if someone's like doing some shenanigans where they're like M1ing you as you get up or whatever, or you just like are in an M1 situation, then you can pull that out and iframe through it. Also, I forgot to mention, but the first move, the staff move, the Swelling Staff, it also blocks M1s and front dashes, but that's not really that relevant, because if you try and M1 it, right, and they pull it out, they're going to get hit by the move anyway. So you can still use it in like M1 situations though. Yeah, and then the third move is called Nioi Juggle. I think that's it, Nioi? Yeah, Nioi Juggle, where you throw your staff into the air, and then you kind of sprint forward and dash, running low to the ground, and punch them in the stomach, which breaks block. And then your staff falls down, and you catch it, and then you smack them in the face with it, knocking them away. And then the mix-up version for that, the 3 plus R, the R variant, is called Sky Piercer, where you throw the staff in the air, and then after a little moment, you jump up, teleporting to the staff, and then throw it down in the air with like great force, and also slams into the ground, implanting. And that's a projectile, of course. But the idea for that is that you use like Noi Juggle in like neutral a few times, right? And then, you know, they think, okay, well, I need to dodge that real quick. But if you then use the mix-up version of it, the R version, you know, they go, oh, he's using it. They go to side dash dodge, and then they're confused. Where the flip is he? And then you're above them, and you can slam it down into them, and that can lead into combos. And then his fourth move is called Violent Charge. And Violent Charge, you kind of jam your hand into the ground and pull out a square tile of rock, and you run towards someone like a kind of rush move, and then swing it up to their face, which knocks them in the air for a decent while, kind of like Garuda Stab and Rising Rage. And this is just like a simple gap closer type move, but it can also lead to some interesting combos. But its main point is for when you have current or charge, same thing. When you have like that crackling spark passive, then it changes to you shooting out a lightning bolt. So basically the lightning bolt crackles above your head and then fires out after around a second. And while it's charging up, you can still act and move around, like Yuta's ult when he's charging up Pure Love Beam. And it auto hits. Whoever you're looking at, it auto hits, tracks, hits them. You can't dodge this attack, but you can block it, right? Blocking it doesn't ragdoll you, but it does chip half damage. Also, using this move expends your current, and this move also can't generate your current either. So it's kind of like a little free damage poke if you want to use it like that, but it's also a very, very valuable combo tool. So then switching to his fist attacks, his first one is called Joint Attacks, where he grabs them on their left shoulder with his right hand and knees them in the stomach, and then spinning anti-clockwise, he hits them with a left elbow and knocks them to the left ragdolling them. It's a decent block break that's pretty fast, and is your combo starter, able to pick up from the ground as well. So it's just a good versatile block breaker move. You know, sometimes characters just need something like that. Number 2, Circling Onslaught, is kind of hard to describe, but you basically hit a sort of Wing Chun pose, and then you right punch them in the body, move up for a slap to their cheek, and then they throw a wild punch at you, which you block, and then circle around to their back and elbow them in the neck, which knocks them behind you, I guess. And this move is a bit limited on its use, as you can only really use it from an uppercut. That's the only time when you have enough time to actually use it. If you use it off M1s, they have enough time to literally just M1 you in the face back, right? So you have to uppercut into it. And then number 3 is Nue Recall, where you basically hold your arm out, kind of like Thor summoning Mjolnir, and you pull your staff towards you, and it like flies towards your hand, and then you catch it with a little bit of recoil, and that's what the end lag animation looks like. But anyone who is hit by it while it's recalling, they're kind of like speared on the end of it, and then when it comes back to your hand, you hit them with a clothesline, which knocks them into the air, like a little bit further up than an uppercut. And you can also skewer multiple people on the staff as well. Also, this is another way to get your staff back. If, let's say, you used, you know, if you left it somewhere and you have no clue where it is, then you can use this move to bring it back to you. When recalling your staff, you can kind of like aim it. So if you click on the staff, use the move, pull it towards you, you can kind of like guide it to like curve to the right a bit or curve to the left. You can't exactly rearrange where it comes from. And that's it for the moves. So if I just want to quickly talk about some general design ideas, where basically the idea for his staff mode is for him to be a bit slower and less aggressive, but have more versatility and tools to counter an opponent's aggression. You know, Swirling Staff reflects projectiles and blocks front dashes, and Footstool, it gives you iframes, so you can, you know, use that in M1 exchanges or when you're getting up from the ground. So Staff is meant to be more versatile, especially with its slower M1s. And then Fist mode is supposed to be way more straightforward and just kind of like a bit more of a direct rushdown character. And I know we have lots of rushdown characters, but it just makes sense for Kashimo as a character in JJK. And the Fist mode has very consistent combos with pretty decent true damage and good evasive damage. I mean, there's this one combo that I played out in my mind, and it does like what, 84 damage and gives you charge at the end. So that's a bit ridiculous, but you do have to uppercut into it, so it's a little predictable. Whereas Staff mode, a lot of its main combos are not true at all, right? It only has one true combo from evasive that does 50 damage. So with Fist mode, you're way more consistent and deal high damage, whereas with Staff mode, you're way less consistent and you have to actually figure out your opponent and play mind games, but then you're even more heavily rewarded for it. So where do I think Kashimo's balance is? I think Kashimo's probably would be around an A tier character. I mean, he does have projectiles, but they're not really projectiles you can rip out of neutral, really. So I think that limits his potential to be a like really powerful character. Also, lots of his combos are not true and rely on mix-ups and figuring out your opponent. And then also his cooldowns are quite lengthy to balance out his combo damage. and he also needs to get that charge to do a lot of his combos. So if you can evasive at the right time, you can just cuck his combos, and then not only does he have to get you again to start the combo, but he has to make sure he routes it right so he gets his charge. But what makes him strong is especially, his combo damage and him having a undodgeable attack, so he can always do that 10 damage or 12.5 damage chip to you if he needs it. And he has so much mix-up and versatility, which makes him a pretty scary character. Oh, okay, wait, I forgot to say this, but if your staff is in the ground and you use 4, then the lightning shot comes from the staff to you, right? So that way, that's really powerful, but you do have to position yourself even better to actually get it to hit your opponent. But yeah, that's about it. I haven't done anything for an ultimate, but for his ultimate, I think it would be interesting to make it sort of like a kind of raid boss where you are forced to be aggressive, sort of like Maharaga, where you're like, maybe your ult bar is your health bar. Because kind of Kashimo turns into actual lightning and sound. He doesn't even have flesh anymore. So I think it'd be cool if hitting your moves gives you awakening back, but it slowly drains while you're in it, and you take extra damage when you're... Sorry, you lose extra awakening when you take damage, kind of like Hikari. So then you can draw parallels between Hikari and Kashimo, right? Because they are kind of related. I think it'd be a very interesting, fun thing, and I think if you kill someone, it should have a passive that gives you like half your awakening bar back. So you can go on crazy tears in a public server, but in a 1v1, you can be stalled out if you mess up too much, and you're forced to play offensively, and you can't play more passively like you'd normally do. But yeah, anyway, that wraps up this character concept video. Sorry for not posting for a while, but things have been busy. Things have been busy, so I've been absolutely itching. I've been itching to make a video, but it's just I've got shit to do, man. I got maths work to do. Maths is actually kicking my ass. But anyway, if I don't see you, good morning, good evening, and good night. Bye bye.